Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey there. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. Kristi, Saul, the co-founder of the Post+Institute, coming at you live. Of course, I'm going to share one of my favorite books right here, From Fear to Love, on promotion, feartolovebook.com. I'm just sort of chit-chatting till you all get a chance to sign in. So November is a particularly important month in the world of adoption. It is the month where we all promote the need for permanency for children. So every night we've been talking a little bit about that. So we'll start there, and then I've got a few little stories I'd like to share with you guys if you don't mind hanging out for a little bit. So Marley and I are actually traveling. She has a medical procedure, so we're on the road. So that's always a little bit stressful. But I know once we get settled in, it will all be just fine. So, as you guys know, if you've been following along, I'm going to tell you about the fact that there are 10,000 children per day, 10,000 children per day who become orphans across the globe. There are over 140 million children in orphanages worldwide. There are over 400,000, so almost 500,000 children in foster care in the United States alone. And so I share that to bring it to our awareness that children need permanency. Children need family, and they need permanent families. They need forever loving homes, safe, loving, forever homes. They need to feel rooted. We grow best when we are rooted in fertile soil, right? So that is my little spiel with regards to Adoption Month. And now to speak to adoption awareness. So adoption awareness has to do with helping people also understand that there's just a lot of things that come with adoption. It's an industry that's fraught with controversy. The cost of it, just the cost alone for private adoption, anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000, I've heard. I don't know about international adoption. I'm sure you guys could speak much more fluently about that. I do know that in some states to adopt from foster care is a lot less expensive. I hear about $2,000, and that some states will waive that fee. And that is not to say that we want to put a dollar amount on love, but some people even go as far as to say that in some ways the adoption process is like legal child trafficking. That's a really big thing to say because that industry is so... Anyway, but I just want to say it, I want to share so that the people on our page, I really want us to have a great big open heart, because when we know all of these different lenses that people look at the arena of adoption and all the different lenses that people have, and I'm just barely touching on them, then it helps us to have deeper understanding. And I really think that we can learn so much when we listen to the voices of adoptees, and especially adult adoptees who are able to reflect back and able to share their stories, share their experiences, share their perspectives. Sometimes I know we can get really defensive. It can be scary because we really do want to love our babies. And I know sometimes we get scared about families of origin and losing our babies, and they're afraid of losing their babies. So there's a whole lot of fear. As I'm just sitting here talking, like I just realized I've said the word fear I don't know how many times. So maybe just by speaking about these things out loud, we can just take a deep breath and we can begin to meditate and pray for love to enter this arena, for us to really be in favor of children. You know, people talk about it, you know, it's a talk. If you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, right? So, you know, foster agencies out there, if you're all about children and you're charging people $50,000 for adoption, you might want to take a look at that. So, yeah, I'm just going to say it. I'll be the one to say it. Leave it to me, right? So, that's it. That's it for Adoption Month and Adoption Awareness Month for now. But I did want to share with you guys a couple of really great stories. One from a family that I did a consult with just earlier this week. And I want to I just shared a couple of ideas, all focused towards creating calm at the brain level, because, you know, that's where everything begins. So we all function best at a particular state of stress. So stress isn't always a bad thing. We have to have a little bit of it. You know, it's the spice of life. So we have to have a little bit of it so that we can get up and get out of bed and do the things that it is that we're being called to do. But if we have too much stress, then, as we know, our thinking becomes distorted and confused. When we stress, we regress. So when we exceed our window of stress tolerance, when we're outside of whatever our individual optimum level of stress is, then when we stress, we regress. And so it was really cool because I just shared a couple of ideas and gave some affirmation and talked about a few little snags that I heard in their story. And they bravely put into action some of the suggestions and are already seeing some positive outcomes. And I share that mostly because I want to just let you guys know that this is such a different paradigm of parenting. This love-based parenting, this parenting where we see the stress and how the stress affects the behavior. And instead of punishing the behavior, we address the stress. And so when people embrace that concept and then they have the courage to take action on it, courage is one piece of it, but the other piece is their own calm, when they're able to be in their own calm place so that they can put these things into action. I just want to, it's like I just want to brag, I just want to brag on you all, because it takes a lot of courage to do that. It takes a lot of guts to try something new. It takes a lot of guts to try something that's outside of your dominant way of thinking, of the dominant story, of the traditional paradigm for parenting. And so I just want to give you guys a great big pat on the back for the courage that you have in stepping off into having a different way of thinking, a different way of perceiving the family dynamics, a different way of perceiving your children, the courage to see past the behavior, the courage to see that the behavior is simply a form of communication, and that if we can address the stress that's underneath, the stress that's driving the behavior, then we're going to see shifts and we're going to have an increased harmony in our families. And so I want to share just one more story because I want to brag on my son. You guys if you've been following our page, you kind of know the story that he came back. He needed to come back and be closer to home. And so I've been home base, but he's grown, he's 27. And so he's been doing his thing and safely. So that is awesome, right? He's been out in the world. He's been doing his thing. He's hanging out with friends and doing what young folks do these days, right? But today, since we were traveling, and he's going to be staying at the house, I was really stressed. Packing to get on the road for an extended trip stresses me out. It is definitely one of those processes that it's just best to stay away from me. Like literally, don't call me, don't text me, let me get my work done, let us get packed and get the car loaded, and then I can talk to you. So I was telling him that through text this morning. I just explained, I said, I'm just like a stressed out freak right now, trying to get us ready to get out the door. And he said, Mama, it's going to be okay. He said, take a big breath and imagine it coming from a beautiful place. I said, you're going to make me cry. It was such a good word. When my son is able to, I know sometimes in the moment he's not going to be able to do that, just like I'm not going to be able to do it. But for him to know that, he didn't have to think about it. He just immediately knew that if I took a deep breath and imagined it coming from a beautiful place, that it was going to help relieve some of that stress. So I just feel so proud of him. I'm proud of the person that he is. He's getting ready to go off on another great adventure. He's going to be going to California with Brian. And so we talked about that a little bit. He said he was really excited, but also a little bit nervous. And he said, I just want to make you and Dad proud. I said, baby, you make me proud already just because you are a good human being. And so I just want to share some amazing, awesome stories. I want to encourage you guys. I want to encourage you guys to remember that time is on your side. Sometimes we feel like we have to be in such a rush. We feel the pressure of the world's expectations. Sometimes we feel the pressure of expectations from our extended family. Sometimes we feel pressure from the voices in our head that are really not ours. They may be the voices of our parents from when we were children. And as we know, those memories, they get stored back here in our brainstem in a very special place. So the more I loved what I read, this was from Brian, and I'm trying to remember where I read it. I think it was in the Great Behavior Breakdown. And he said, when we shine the light on the subconscious, so when we shine the light in those areas that these memories are stored, and we bring them to our conscious awareness, it is from that perspective we can examine those expectations, we can examine those stories that we tell ourselves, and oftentimes they will not stand up to that light because they are falsehoods from a place in the past or falsehoods from the world that we don't have to buy into. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. I hope you guys have a fabulous evening. Remember what Brian tells us, in any given moment, even when it means you're packing to get out the door and you're stressed out because you feel like you have a million things to do, or even when your handicap accessible room is not very handicap accessible, even when it feels like the world's against you in some ways, or they're just not against you, they're just not recognizing what you need. You can act out of your same blueprints of fear, stress, and overwhelm. Or you can take 1 to 2 to 3 to 10 deep breaths, and you can choose love. So I hope you choose love. I hope you rest well tonight when you lay your head down. Rest assured. Just rest assured. Rest assured that it's all going to be okay. Somehow it's all going to work out. Take one positive moment from the day. Hold that in your mind like you're holding a picture. Do that mental rehearsal of you, your best version of yourself, parenting your amazing child. Let that be what you build on for tomorrow. We love you guys. Everybody take care. Stay blessed, and we will see you all tomorrow.